Hang on, I'll just get a quick bite to eat. Fucking hell, Dave. It's like Walker's Crisp Factory.
Yeah, you can't beat Walkers.
You on a healthy diet, Dave?
Very healthy, very healthy.
And here you are, he's a cornerstone of nutrition from Dangerous Dave's car. I mean, do you like your crisps?
Oh, I love me crisps.
I can tell. Bloody hell. This is like the gaffer's car. Dave was saying the Cortina was getting up the hills better than the, what's this called?
The Insignum.
A what?
The Signum.
Signia. See you in a minute. I'll see you on the M62, Dave.
See you soon.
That's dangerous. He's got a 2-into-1 wheel go. He's got the back of his windows made of wood. Two-into-1 will go dangerous. Get your back window fixed.
I certainly will.
Do you want to tune up? Do you want a Crypton tune up?
Crypton tune up. Can't split it.
Oh my god. Get a proper car, get a Cortina. Definitely Cortina City today. There's tons of Cortinas in. John Tiswas is here. He used to be in the Mk3 Club. You need to rejoin. There's a Cortina there. There's a Cortina 2-door there. There's Swampy there. He's a 4-door GXL. There's Ruby. That's a 4-door GXL auto. Swampy's a 5-speed. Close them up. I've got Tina G, the original Borg Warner 35 2-litre 4-door GXL. Another auto here, which is Bramble, and then John's just brought this one, this S-Wedge Beauty in. GT spent some time in South Africa, didn't it? It's the most solid shell I've ever seen. That's original, that back panel, John.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow. That's South Africa style, with no rust. They don't rust in that country, do they? These are where you need to get them. This is where you need to pick them up from these days. Bloody hell, they splodged that on, didn't they? I think that's an aftermarket job. Look at that jack. A little bit of sealant splodge. Oh no. Oh please, that's... Hey look, they sprayed a washer in it there, probably from the factory. I think it's had some paint on it, but...
Oh, it's had paint, yeah. It's had paint spilt in the boot by the look of it, look.
Yeah. It's alright.
Look at that, look.
Shelf speakers there, is that a Ford toolkit? No, it's not a Ford toolkit, it's a triangle.
Triangle?
One in triangle. Tell you what, that's a solid boot, that.
Yeah.
I bet you everything on it, I bet the inner sills and outer sills are all original on this. It'll not be, it looks just, look at the bottom of the doors, where they normally rust. Look at that lovely, that tab there, where it's folded over, never had any filler or repairs in the corners of the doors. If you don't fill these full of wax though, they won't last.
That's one of the jobs you've got to do.
Yeah, it's having a little pop there, it's having a little try at the bottom of the B pillar. But as soon as it's in a bit of British weather. Facelift dash, mind. Still facelift dash, they're still alright.
Tombstones though.
I know, they're lovely them. I think they used to be mine.
Pete.
They used to be mine. Done a nice job on them.
Aldridge trimming.
Aldridge for the tombstones. Jim, take note. There we go. I've got a better shot now. That was rubbish at me. This camera's just. Don't blame the tools. Lovely doors. And the engine bay. I've already seen it just a few minutes ago. That's why I had to run and get the camera, everybody, because it's the most solid engine bay I've ever seen. There's just nothing in this engine bay. There's just not even a beginning of rust. All the key parts that you look for, nothing's rotted. It's just such a dry climate, so it saved its life.
Always rotten down here, aren't he?
Yeah.
It's just the spot wells, what?
Yeah, I know. Especially behind them headlamp bowls down there. Nothing down them headlamp bowls. I know you've got a little bit on that lower valance, but it's nothing of a job. It's the original lower valance. You can see all the factory spots there. It's very good. And of course the code Onyx for Onyx green, and then GT there. So a facelift GT. I've never seen a facelift GT before. I knew they were out there, but I've just never seen one. I think it's the first facelift GT I've seen.
Underrider though.
Yeah,
Same as the English one.
yeah, that's right. And on an S plate. So, how did the S plate work?
It went from South Africa
Yeah.
to Portugal,
Right.
and then in Portugal,
Oh, right.
they registered it when it went in the country in '78.
Yeah.
So it ended up, although I think it's a May '74 build.
Right. That's late. Wonder if they're the original wings. I bet they are. Have they even started to try and go yet? No. What was the panel gaps like from these? This will be factory panel gaps. What
I
were
haven't
they?
touched it.
No.
See, that's a different colour up there. It's
Yeah.
been painted sometimes. It's probably had a few scrapes in its life.
Yeah. Doors probably been adjusted because the stripes don't line.
Yeah.
But it's the minor things. I mean, what a great for not a lot of cash. You could build a concourse out of this, couldn't you? Easy.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for not a lot of money. Heavy door that. Yeah. These are the things to look for. It's not even begun to rot. That needs absolutely filling full of wax, Dinatrol, whatever you pick.
All the doors.
You need filling, John. You can't.
I know, yeah.
It's got water on it already. I mean, that'd be like I couldn't sleep if you didn't put wax on. Oh yeah, it's just not been. It's not even began to attack it. You know, that's the first thing that goes is that corner. A little bit. It's having a go there a little bit. But these are very minor things. You know, you could say soda blast it and start again and build a concourse car if you shot blasted it, but you don't need to. It's good as it is, isn't it?
Yeah. To make it mint, it wants painting and some wheel arches.
Yeah. I think I'd have to remove that though.
Yeah.
The Dalek light.
You know what that is, don't you?
Fog
light?
Yeah, it's
South African fog light.
all it can be is fog.
Well,
Stainless steel
thing is,
exhaust needs to go
if
on.
you take it off, it's gonna have a fucking big hole there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, well, no, it depends. It'll probably have 3 holes, 2 screw holes, and then 1 centre grommeted cable hole.
But I think that's part of its history, isn't it?
I suppose so. Yeah, if
You know, it's from South Africa.
if you look at it that way, you know, it's usable car now. It's just go straight to the shows. You're off. You don't need to do anything to it, John. As soon as you start pulling at it, all you need to do is wax oil it. And let's get this electronic ignition. It's in to come on the tune-up machine. So we're going to whack it on the points. We're putting the ignition on. So I'm just going to do some wire joins. Let's get right into it now and fit this. What we got, AccuSpark? Or?
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look at the unit, John.
You've got them in the corners, look.
Yeah, that's right. The what they call the landing
buffers.
pads. Yeah, bonnet landing pads. They're normally missing, aren't they? Normally crack out. There's good, isn't it? There.
Yeah. Really corrode.
There's good. Scuttles, no doubt. Let's have a look at the AccuSpark unit. What a solid machine. Here's the original colour because they haven't sprayed behind. For Onyx it seems light. To me it looks like fern. Onyx is even darker than this, but it can't be because behind the heater box they've yeah, you're on Lucas for this, so we'll have to convert to Lucas, but that ain't no big deal, is it? Okay. Yeah, it's one of them type. Okay. Let's get on with it. I think that's why John wasn't running so good. He thinks points were completely burned out, but we're going to fit a ignition anyway. They're fucked. I'm surprised you even got here, lads. Fucking hell, John.
Stop it, something like that.
Putting a new cap on wouldn't make a lot of difference with them. Try doing your points and condenser first.
Well,
right.
I have no intention of doing the points.
No.
I was always going to put that in.
Yeah, well, we'll try the AccuSpark. Get that fitted now. I have a little collar, a little magnetic collar that comes with them. Don't think you run your condenser, you don't need it because there's no point, so we'll take the condenser off as well. Running now anyway.
Hold it.
Top of the booms there, just hold it there, yeah. Right, if you walk down the back of the car, it's still running.
Yeah.
Walk down the back and film that screen if you can. All pretty even that, John. We're good to go there. A lot better than it was before.
Yep.
So we've done John's electric ignition, which is the AccuSpark system. Just put the colour tune on it just to help there, and then we just run it on the Crypton machine. I think he could do with his valve clearances checking, but it all looks good. A lot better than it was when it come in. First one on really, this John. First customer anyway. Our first customer of the day, John's GT. With it. Who's ever seen a facelift GT? John, it's legit, innit, John? On an S reg.
Yep.
Wow. Look. Wow. GT facelift S reg. All correct. All correct. Take it away. It's legit. Yeah, they do, John. It's a ringer, John. It's a ringer. It's a ringer. It's a ringer.
Thanks for that, Pete.
Okay. Hold on. You're away, you're good to go. It's a ringer. See you later, John. Let us know how you get on with it. Your door's not fully shut. Probably once I check the valve clearances and just check your stem seals, your valve stem seals. But see how you get on with it.
Yep, see you soon.
Okay.
Have a look for a turbo for me.
Right, will do. Another satisfied customer at the city. We're here at the city. We're here at the city. Another satisfied customer at the city. John goes away with his electric ignition fitted and a quick mini Crypton tune. We didn't go crazy on it, we just tuned it a little bit. Bramble just in on trickle charge. This is how you stop your batteries from getting wrecked. Just keep them on the little mini trickle charger like that one. Look. It's a little power vamp. That's done Bramble proud, it's done Ruby proud, it's done Tina G proud. Tina G was on that for 2 years. And it slows down later on when there's enough to it. I'll just go to green trickle the moment it's actually putting something in it. Ruby's engine bay looking immaculate, of course. Swan piece, good, a little faded now, wants to freshen up. Air filter to freshen up. Cam cover, I'd repaint that now. Freshen up a few pipes, a few clips and fittings. Not much to do there. Little freshen up for Swampy. And then of course, as I said, Tina G needs a full engine rebuild. But we'll do that. Engine bay rebuild. Bramble, of course. We say no more. Right, let's get back on to another job. Cortina City on a Crypton again. Tis was his car, that GT's just gone out. Ruby comes in. Let's just get the radio off for you. Hold on. Ruby comes in for analysing because it's not been on the machine before. Keeping it going at Cortina City. And news just in. News just in. Wayne Baker is in. A new Crypton Motorscope has been won on eBay. This time, it ain't no behemoth. It's a little junior tabletop, a junior tabletop, but a 70s model this time. So we've found the missing module between our 60s models, our late 80s models. This is late 80s, perhaps this is mid 80s. Could be, we might say late 90s, late 70s, early 80s-ish, around this series perhaps. There's one in the middle that was missing. That's 70s, the 71, 72, 73 range. It's in. We've won the auction. It's a little baby tabletop. It's got the scope, but it's got a one control, does all, simplified little mini tabletop machine. Would go nicely on this tabletop here, because this one comes off. This little baby could come off, and our other one can go on this stand if we want. It does come with a stand, although the stand to me looked modified or incorrect, but that doesn't matter. We got it at a cheap price. It's in a classic car garage. It's going to be a great road trip, so hold on to your seats, because we could be on the way there. So there's that. Before we go out on the road trip to pick that up, are you getting excited here at Cortina City? I am definitely turning into a cross between Larry the Lamb and Roadrunner. Okay. Right. Everything goes on the scope here. Everything goes on and we make our little report sheet. And here it is for Ruby. 900 RPM idle. So we're going to make sure all vehicles run at 900 RPM. Easy to do on the nice big easy to read display. Brilliant for setting it all up. So we go through and we do a couple of checks. Excuse me. Oh my God, it's the fumes. It's the fumes. Start off checking battery voltages with cranking power. So 10.9 volts on crank. Battery then goes up to 13.7. Jumps up to 14 when you rev. Starting volts there, battery voltage at the coil, no problems with them, pretty straightforward. Go through and we start looking at the patterns that it generates, and then the voltages across the plugs. I've done this here simply because there might be a way around this, but the cylinder order is like that, 1, 3, 4, 2. So them buttons do not refer to your cylinder, they refer to the order. So 1 is 1, because the aspiring order on a Pinto is 1, 3, 4, 2. So 2 is 3, 3 is 4, and 4 is 2. Sorry about the confusion, but that's got me a little bit. Measuring the voltage across the coils by using the inbuilt display on the scope, giving us plug 1 kilovolts, 13 kilovolts, plug 2, 11 kilovolts, plug 3, 14 kilovolts, plug 4, 13 kilovolts, okay? With the lead taken off, we use these special pliers. You get these for £5 off eBay. Try and get these US Pro ones or something a bit better. US Pro is okay. They're not fantastic, but there you go. That grips the plug. And what you do to get your kilovolt lead voltage is you pull the plug off the plug here, off the spark plug with the engine running. Then you'll see the voltage shoot up on the screen, because it's not discharging that spark. It's dead-ended, and it'll jump up and you get a rise in voltage. And that rise in voltage here, we've got 36 kV on plug 1, cylinder 2 32 kV, cylinder 3 36 kV, cylinder 4 32 kV. So a difference on 2 and 4, 36, 36, 32, 32. On acceleration you'll get a jump as well to 19 kV. So we look at all those. Look at the ignition time in 2, 6 degrees with the vac advance off. Okay. Then auto advance on with the vac on. We jump up to 18 with the vac. Sorry, with the vac off, we jump up to 18. With the vac advance connected, we jump up to 32 at 35,000 revs, which are all okay. Cylinder power test. Knock out each cylinder one at a time and monitor the drop in RPM. That's done automatically on this. As soon as I hit one of these buttons, when I'm on the 40k button here and I knock out a cylinder at a time, this gauge auto becomes a gauge that tells you the amount of revs dropped. So it's automatic, which is great. So when I hit 2, start off on 0, it'll knock the cylinder out, you'll get a drop in RPM, and this will indicate the drop in RPM, so it tells you what it is. So the one that has the least effect or the least drop in RPM is the weakest cylinder. In our case, cylinder 1 dropped by 6 RPM, cylinder 2 dropped by 3 RPM, Cylinder 3 dropped by 7 RPM. Cylinder 4 dropped by 6 RPM. So we had 6, 7 and 6 very close. Cylinder 2 with the worst effect at 3. So cylinder 2 isn't working as hard as the others. So that starts making me look at cylinder 2. And indeed, on the KV, cylinder 2 is the lowest at 11. So now what I do is look at the trace pattern for cylinder 2. We can start bringing it out, individually isolating it, because what you can do here, when you activate these traces here, you can separate out. They all come overlaced apart from the parade buttons at the end, so you can split them, although timing strobe ones are laid out, but you can analyze an individual trace and bring it up on the top of the screen. Let's have a look at that and show you what number 2 seems to be doing differently than all the rest of them. We can start the car up. We haven't got the engine kill button on, so we just need to start Ruby up. What a machine. Okay. Right, so here we are. We're zoomed in at the moment. I'll just zoom out. We've got, there's your 4 sparkers. So 2's the end one. You can see it's the lowest performer. So 2's the lowest performer. I'll show you that cylinder kill. 2 again, the lowest performer. Watch. Let's knock out 1. Here's our gauge showing 0 effect. Knock out 1, giving me the drop of 8, 8, 8. Drops on 8. It varies as your engine warms up. Let's do 3, giving me a drop of 8, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 9. Do 1 again. 1 giving a drop of 8, 7.5, 8. 4 giving a drop of 8, 7.5, 8. 2 giving a drop of 5, 4.5, 5. And you can see that 2's the least performer. So we could start looking at cylinder 2 if there's any problem. We've got also our vac here, 40, 50 kPa. We can look how that peaks out when I rev it. That's our vacuum at the manifold. That's performing okay. So I'm interested in 2. So I'll bring up the primary traces. They're all overlaid. Let's look at primary trace, isolate out cylinder 1. There's our spark burn time just there. We can zoom in on it if we want. There's our spark burn time. Little spiky line there. Number 3, isolate out. Sort of spiky line of a bring out in milliseconds, just under 1 millisecond. 4, sort of spiky line, just under 1 millisecond. But look at 2, isolate out 2, bring up 2, a very smooth line, doesn't have them spiky marks, and it stretches out a longer burn time. Look, stretches out, so there's a difference in the burn time on 2, much more, just under 1, and a lot of spikes involved in it. 3, a lot of spikes involved. Look, I'll bring you a bit closer. 4, 2 is very smooth and flat. Okay, I'll draw that on the paper. I'll draw that on the board, so I'll show you what I mean. Look, these burn times. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 2, 1 gives you these little bits of spikes. 3 gives you these little bits of spikes before they peak up and drop down, and you do your little bounce. Same on this one, you get your little bounce, spiky, up, down, little bounce. But 2, you're getting a smoothish one and then a pull up, so you're not getting this shape, more of a smooth shape. So what that actually means at the moment, in this moment in time, because I'm still learning, I don't actually know whether it's the spark plug gap, whether it's the valve overlap, something to do with the timing on the valves, the cam, a HT lead, I'm not sure. The leads are all new, but we don't know yet. It could be the spark plug. So why don't we examine the spark plug and just make sure that it's gapped all right, just in case that spark plug's got a different gap. Perhaps it's that, we're not sure, but that's what it's all about. We're learning as we go. You're with me learning as we go. We're going to take out number 2 and have a quick look at it just to see, matter of interest, and we'll see. Switch back to, we can parade all 4. I can see it on all 4 as well. 2's always the last one, and that you can see that's smoother, look. And it burns longer. Now these might be within spec. I don't know, these could be well within spec. This may all be normal. But the purpose of the exercise is to get used to using the equipment. I don't think with these machines here we're ever going to go back to, we're ever going to be able to use them as accurately as this machine does. This is the machine for really doing your car. They're more of sort of toys. I might be able to, but I doubt I'll get these to run as accurate as this. I'm going to spend a lifetime trying to get them calibrated because of the valves and the resistors and everything like that. Let's get them going as toys. This is the real deal though. This 335 is the one I recommend to you for your 70s cars. 90s cars, go for the late 80s and 90s cars. Go for the Cruisemate 440 or a 336 Motorscope. This one's great. This does everything I want. That cylinder goes down a little bit as the engine warms up. A little bit of vacuum is dropped, but not much. So we've written everything down, and we're going to compare vehicles. Another thing I did notice with this is there's more induction raw on Ruby, and we talked about this, than there is on Bramble. And indeed there's a lot of suction coming from this. When I boot it, it's actually sucking down on the air pan. I can feel it collapsing in. It doesn't do that on Bramble. So Bramble, something's not right. I think Bramble's cam's not set right, or it could be that this distributor is different, because this is a H&H Dizzy. Now look at the timing figures. You want all your timing in by at least 30,000, 35,000 revs, and you don't want any more than 35 degrees of timing, 38 degrees max. So we're in there. You don't want to be going over 38 advance. The engine's not designed for that. I think it's fit. Correct me on YouTube if I'm wrong. I think it's around 38 degrees of timing, 35 degrees of timing. You don't want to go over that. That's the advance, when the vac combined with the weights, a total timing. So the vac advance and the weight advance becomes your total amount of timing. So we're going to look at that spark plug. Other than that, the engine does run good, and everything is as it should be up here. All your voltages are right. So we'll have to just see. Be interesting to look at that spark plug, perhaps compare it with another plug. So let's do that now. Right, I've got the plug out. looks like we're running rich. Now we've got the new carb on there. I did colour tune this in, but I reckon that's too rich because this is looking a little bit sooty, this plug. The gap on it is quite big. I'm just wondering if the spark's managing to jump that. I mean, obviously it is, but I'm just wondering if that plug's performing the same way. It does look different. All the plugs are sooted up, but this gap on plug 1 was smaller. The gap on plug 2 was bigger. Or I've just got the two plugs mixed up and one was bigger and one was smaller. Just, you know what I did? I wrote it on there and then I rubbed it off. Idiot. So I've actually screwed up because I've got the two plugs mixed up. I've just gapped them both. What I've done, because I've got electric ignition, I was told that you don't need to go 0.64, that you can actually increase your plug gap a little bit and get a fatter spark. So I'm going to just spin the engine over. I'm trying to think of a way of doing it where it won't fire up. There's actually no way of doing it. Oh yes, there is. I can spin it on the king lead only and just see that the gap, the spark can jump that gap. I've increased the gap. I'm going to have to take the king lead off and just turn the engine over. Unfortunately, I haven't got a remote start for this, so that's tricky to actually see it sparking. I might just put them back in and see what happens, but I've increased the gaps on 1 and 2. I'll just see if I get any difference at all on those. I'll also put the feeler gauge in and just see what they're actually gapped at now. But plug 2 was definitely different. And also we're running rich too, so there's two things there. Because when before the fire and the carb was replaced, these plugs came out a very nice copper brown colour. So since the new carb's gone on, it's running rich. So I've not set the carb mixture correct. Even though I used the colour tune and the flame was blue, that carb could now have settled in a little bit. It might be prudent to put the colour tune back on and reset the mixture now it's done some miles. Maybe that's an idea. Okay, so a couple of things to be looking at, but I mean the engine does run good and we've got no problem with it, but the whole point with the Crypton was to just see, to compare and try and get Bramble's power to something like this car, because even though I haven't done some improvements to the power and it's still there, I still think it lacks what this has got. I am convinced it's a major contribution to road safety. Okay, I've just colour tuned in, and then what I did, I probably went too lean, so I was getting erratic tick over, slight. Here we're only changing a couple of RPM there, and on the VAT gauge it's pretty constant. But when I had it too lean, it was drifting, it was hunting a little bit, so I came out a little bit more, not using the colour tune this time, just by using to stabilise that VAT gauge, so that it sort of slowed itself down. I had to come out another 3/4 of a turn off the colour tune blue, but it probably still was blue, but it's quite precise where it wants to be. So we're back at 900 RPM, and now let's look at the difference. We messed with the gaps. I put them both at 0.75 spark plug gaps. We're going to knock out cylinder 1 and see what difference it makes. No, not 1, 3 and 4, because I've not touched them. 3 knocking out. 6, 7, 6, treble 20, 6. Right, 6 on that. 4, 8, 7, 7, 7.5, 7, 7, treble 20. So 7, they're both the same. 3 and 4 have a difference of 7 between them. 3 back in just to double check. 5, 6, 7, 7, 7, 6, 6.5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6.5. They're about the same. 3 and 4 identical power drop. 1 and 2. These are the two plugs that just have bigger gaps put on them. I know plugs 3 and 4 are on 0.64. Plugs 1 and 2 are on 0.75, possibly 0.80. Here we go. Plug knocking out cylinder 1. 5, 6, 6, 6.5, 6. That's 6. 2. 2, 5, 5.5, 5.5, 4.5, 5.5, 6, 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5. About the same. So we have evened out now by doing that gap. Let's have a look at the burn. Let's have a look at the burn. Give me that burn. Burn, baby, burn. The disco inferno. Burn, baby, burn. Okay. Superimposed all the squiggles. Isolate one up there. Squiggly burn. Squiggly charge time. Sorry, not burn time. Charge time. I'll get the burn times in a minute. I got that. I was explaining that wrong before. 3 squiggly line. 4 squiggly line. 1, 3, 4, 2. Looks like they're all the same. Let's look at the burn times. I'll show you the burn time now. There it is. Coming in on your screen. We'll zoom in. We'll have to rev it up to get the gaps out. We need better RPM to get that. We need a couple of 2,000 revs to get it. How the hell did I get tangled up in these wires? Hold on. Hold on. Here we go. Need some revs on for this. You can also read this number. So knockout 1, go from 95 RPM, 96, 9,600, sorry, drop down to 88, 89, 89, 88, cylinder 1, cylinder 3, 88, 86, 87, 86, 87, 86, so they're all within 1 RPM, or 10 RPM, sorry. 86, 87, 86, 87 within 10, 2, 86, 87, 88, 86, 87, they're all the same. So each cylinder has exactly the same effect on performance. Let's switch off. Check our core voltage dropping down to 10, that's because the alternator's not running. Battery voltage unclipped, that's why. Try clipping on your battery, might help. 11.5, that's because ignition's on. Coil voltage 10.4, that's just because our ignition is on. We shall now switch ignition off, make sure battery, it might not have charged because we've been running a little bit under RPM. Everything off. Ruby then. And don't forget, we're not forgotten, we're going to pick up. Coil voltage now drops to nothing. Battery voltage 12.6. That battery could be better. Could it be 13? So yeah, it's working, but it could be better, the battery. We might try and just give it a longer charge, but it's okay there, but I wouldn't like to go much lower than this. I'd like to be around 13. Okay, but okay. So standing idle battery voltage we might have to add onto here. I don't think I've written it in. So I've got battery voltage at the coil, battery state starter volts, charge volts. What about just ignition off volts? 12.1. 12.1 ignition off. So that's after it's supposedly charged up. 12.7, sorry. So I'll keep my eye on that. We'll compare that with other vehicles. So this is done. These changes now are different. Really, we should redo the sheet. So we will now go through this and I'll start the sheet all over again now that we've done those tweaks. Although I wouldn't expect to be, I'll be seeing this slight change on cylinder 2, but that's about all we've done. Oh, we've changed the mixture a little bit because the plugs were black. So we need to make some notes on here. Altered fuel system, let's say yes. So of course we don't need to really do that. Have we got anything for fuel? Fuel ratio, here we go. Used, colour tune. Okay, so use colour tune. And then noted blackened plugs, black plugs. They weren't oily, it was dry, it was carbon. So I'll put carbon. So put a cross in that. So used colour tune, no, because so we've altered. Carburetor condition, good. Checked all that single test, no, that's NA. So we'll sort of recheck plugs and mixture. Now we need to get it on a machine really. Put it on machine. So we need to get a proper CO machine to want to get that exactly right. VAC's still at 45 kPa. These voltages may have drifted a little bit now, so I'll drop in voltages. Let's redo it after we've done the. We need to redo these final figures here. Cross those out. Let's just see what our voltage drop, what our RPM drops are now. We've messed with the plug gap and the fuel mobilizers kick back in. So last test coming in here, Freddie Mercury on the radio, good old Queen, it's a kind of magic. Come on baby, fire up, let's go. I've got the engine kill button on. Oh, that's for testing your cranking volts. That's a good idea. You press that in. Jim pointed that out. I never even made the connection. Nice one, little Nick. Straight on the key there, so that's a good sign. Right, what RPM volt do we get? Back on here. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're at 88, 90. 5, that's 6 drop, 7 drop, so 6, a drop of 6, 7, oh it's the same, still on 6, 7, cylinder 2, a drop of 6, 7. Same, 6, 7. These have evened out now, that was 3, look. Okay, cylinder 3. 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, 7. 6, same, 6. 4. 4, cylinder 4. 5, 6, 7. 6, 5. 5, 6. Same again, 6. Now they've all evened out, look. And getting all the 6s there now. So the cylinders have all evened out. So each cylinder, when disconnected, has an equal performance. Let's just see if that follows through on the kPa. We're getting a slightly better kPa. We had 45 before we did that mixture. We're stable between 46 and 48. Okay, let's just see. Knockout 1, drop to 41, drop to 41, drop to 41. Okay, knockout cylinder 2, drop to 42, 41, 40. Knockout cylinder 3, drop to 40, 41, 42, 42, 41, 42. Cylinder 3 performs good. Knockout 4, 41, 41, 42, 40, 41, 42, 41, 42, 43, 44. And again, 1 out, 41, 42, 44, 41, 42, 43, 44. Between 42 and 44, 42, 44, 42, 44, on cylinder 3, 42, 44, 42, 44, same, cylinder 4, 42, 44, 42, 43, 43, 44, all the same. So, our vac 42 to 44, all cylinders. When isolated. So that's your cylinder test. It's not a, well, there is a power test. Cylinder's got power test here. I don't know if it allows for RPM or vac pressure. So that's our sheet. We're going to switch off now. So that says 900, so it should be on 900 on the gauge. Yes, we are, look. That's not wandering or anything, that's rock steady. That sounds good. There's no bogging, it's not bogging down, listen. There's a little bit, Fuel is critically low, we're going to have to be careful, we've got to end this test. Fuel's about to fail. We need fuel, temperature halfway, everything's held up. I'm just going to show you the semaphore cutting out. If I put enough heat on it, will. The thing I like about the scope, you can sit inside the car and you can see everything as well, look. I noticed too on Bramble, I'm going to have to put a note on the board, you can hear exhaust sounds coming through the centre, so something's not sealed around there to do with the T-shifter. I'm going to have to get some mastic and just check it. I can hear sound, it could be coming through the shifter mechanism. It might need a seal or something. I don't know, I'll have to keep my eye on that. Very important to do it, because this is instantly quieter in this cabin than Bramble's in terms of the static noise from the exhaust. You can't hear the exhaust in this car like you can in Bramble, so we'll have to watch that. Bramble's got the semaphore's gone out. Bramble's got some cabin noise, not noise from the exhaust, and it's coming from here. Now that bolts down, and I had mastic on it and it bolts down, so I can't see. It must be getting through the T-shifter assembly, and it is sealed, so I don't know what it is, but we'll have to check it out. We'll have to see. We don't know yet. Well, we shall see. Okay. Everything else is good. Oil pressure goes up good. I don't know if we're due an oil change on this. Do you know what? I think we are. We're due an oil change on Ruby. That's going to be tomorrow's job. No, I did it on the fire. I've written it down. Okay, so that's that. Cabin. Let's have some fresh air. It's like boiling in here. Ah, that's good. This has got the boosted fan as well. Not quite as good as Bramble, but not far behind. Bramble's got a bigger power feed to the motor. This hasn't quite got the same power feed. Those lines on the screen, I'm looking, you can't see it as good as me, folks, but the Crypton's checking that revs. Oh, I'm not on set on RPM, am I? Oh yes I am. A little bit of stickiness in the cable. It's got back down to 900 now. 920, 910, yeah. Fans come in again. That's cycling nice, that fan. Again, Bramble's doesn't cycle as nice as this. And I've got to investigate why that is too. Could be the stat setting. Anyway, all the readings on the screen look good. I'm looking at the spark burn times. Now you can't see it, but I can from here. They're all evenly spaced, all about the same spark burn time. Hang on. You need a little bit of revs with the machines just to sort of sink it in and just bring the readings in. It's the auto ranges a little bit. You get a rise in voltage when you boot it too. Right, I don't think I can do any more on that. We've done plenty for you. I've got a road trip lined up for you folks. We're on the road. We're going to go out on the road downtown and check it out. You're sat in the cabin with Project Ruby today, and we're still on our Crypton learning mission. This is a learning mission. Why not? Switch off. No overrun there. Let's just see if it does a quick start on the key. Does, apart from that was just a little splutter. There is a dead spot on my starter motor, I noticed. Let's go again. Go again. Don't go again. Yeah, you hear that dead spot on the starter? Not got it that time. Sometimes you get that dead spot. Let's try again. No, we're starting nice. That's good. So we tweak this a little bit. And now it's time for tea. I'll resume filming tomorrow. For me, it's a whole day. For you, it's just a few seconds. We'll catch you in a sec. Yeah, it's a bit of a mix-up video, this one, because we're going to go out on a road trip. You just saw us doing some testing, final testings, and again using the Crypton to see what we can get on the different cars, comparing them. Just, the jury's still out whether or not this has got less power. I might have mentioned before, I thought that it didn't, than Ruby. We still don't know for sure. I could be just imagining it. So everything comes through on the two engines very similar. We've got our report sheets here, and everything comes through very similar on the two engines. Ruby's actually got better vac, pulling better vacuum. So, you know, 45 and 55. So Ruby beats, Bramble beats Ruby. So Bramble's got better vac. And the KVs are similar. It's not a million miles out. The timing curves, you've got 6 degrees, both static. Maxing out at 35 on full on 3,500 revs. This one maxes out at 32. We'll have to keep our eye on it, but it's great to compare the two engines. We're finished with that little topic, and we're now, the electronics bench is back open. We're going to build that speed controller for the torque converter lockup on Ruby. So the diagram's there, and I've just began soldering in. Hold on, because you've got two people talking. We've got our drama queen Jeremy on Radio 2, simply because there's no adverts. So I'm starting off building this circuit that we sketched out. I'll remind you of the circuit in case you didn't watch the tech video a couple of videos ago, a couple of weeks ago. You've got in front of you there a speed circuit. And if you're just new in, you're going to say, what speed circuit? Well, quickly, very quickly, and in layman's terms, we'll go through it. Ruby and Bramble, for that matter, have both got Granada A4 gearboxes in them, which gives you a 4-speed box, as opposed to having the old early 70s 3-speed box, giving you better cruising revs, because you get that extra gear. But they also have a torque converter lockup, which effectively makes the automatic gearbox a straight through drive from the engine to the axle, which gives you better economy. Does it by having a solenoid operated, fluid operated lockup plate in the gearbox. So imagine your gearbox is an auto with a torque converter, has these two plates in it, as well as a torque converter, these two plates. When a solenoid activates by 12 volts, the plates close up and create virtually a clutch, if you will. A direct drive, so it eliminates slippage on your torque converter. It takes that out of the equation, and you get a one-on-one drive. So it takes the heat out. The torque converter doesn't do any work. Consequently, you get better economy, and you're in direct drive. But to do it, the Granada that it came off, the Scorpio, the Sierras, they had a computer on board the car which sensed the road speed, and a couple of other variables as well, but essentially the road speed, and it would activate those clutch plates, that solenoid, under a certain speed and engine load. Now the engine load would be sensed off the vacuum manifold pressure, and the computer would analyse that in conjunction with the speed, and would throw that solenoid across. So when you get to cruising speed and the engine's not being loaded, in other words, you're not booting it, you're not pushing it up a hill, everything's light throttle and cruising, it says, right, good to go, activate the lockup, take the automatic gearbox out of the equation, and just direct drive that engine to your axle. So torque converter lockup, it's an economy saving device. We haven't got that computer because we're on an old Cortina, so we're going to build a system that measures the road speed and activates the solenoid in conjunction with the road speed, and with this vac switch, the engine vacuum load. So you have a vacuum switch sensing the loading on the engine. You would have this circuit here sensing the road speed, and this, when the road speed comes up to, for example, 50 mile an hour, this circuit senses that and activates the solenoid in our case a little relay, through the solenoid. You make it adjustable so that you can set the speed that it comes in. Go out on the road and you have to calibrate it out just to get it exactly right. That circuit does that. There's no point me going through this unless I made a separate electronics video how this circuit works, but essentially the heart of it is this little chip here, what's called the 555 and the 741. Two different types of chips. This chip simply counts the pulses coming in. Now them pulses are coming in from the road wheels via the gearbox's onboard speed sensor, which Scorpio Granada used to use for the cruise control and for the sometimes for the speedo. Some gearboxes had mechanical and electronic speed sensors. In our case, we've got a speed sensor on the gearbox already. It's used for the cruise control, which both cars have got. So we measure the speed of those signals coming in with this chip, and it counts them, and it gives a voltage out. So in really simple terms, this chip here counts fast off-on pulses. Let's pretend my hand is the off-on pulse of 12 volts. It's going to go as each road wheel turns, as the prop shaft turns, it's this speed each revolution. As you get faster, you get more pulses because the prop shaft's now spinning faster, so it's 12, 12, 12, quicker, quicker, quicker. Each turn of that prop shaft makes a 12 volt pulse. So you're going to go like this, really quick. So quick you wouldn't hear it, you'd see it on the screen of a scope. This chip will count them pulses. Faster you go, the more volts it puts out. So it might start out at 0 volts here, and it starts to rise up. So at 50 mile an hour, this might be around 6 volts coming out of the chip. So the chip's just a counter to voltage. Faster you put the speed count in, the more voltage it puts out of its little pin. The internals of that, there's no point going into it, but there's a couple of ways you can do it with a charge pump. There's a couple of ways you can do it electronically, but let's not go into the chip itself, except to say, faster you make them road speed pulses into the chip, the more voltage comes out of its little pin on pin 3. Then a separate chip here measures the voltage, and you can adjust that then. So you could say, right, when it's at 6 volts, flip the relay. And that's done with this 741 chip. You configure it on these little pots, adjustable trimming pots. They look like this, got a bag of them here. You turn them with a screwdriver, and you then set, when it's say at 6 volts or 5.8, that's probably 45 mile an hour, flip the relay, and the relay flips, and the relay then puts 12 volts to the energizing coil on the gearbox, which activates the lockup. You've got to build in a little bit of tolerance. You don't want it so it's 59, 58, 59, otherwise the relay is going to be, if you're hovering around that speed, the relay will be going click, 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 when you're around that 1 mile an hour area. So you have to make this within a range of say 5 mile an hour. So when I'm drifting on my speed, the relay's not keeping clicking, it'll click in at 50 and click out at 45. So you've got to build what's called a hysteresis in. That's about all I'm going to go through with electronics, but we get the circuit board here. This is called Vero board. It's a good quality board, this one. You can get cheap copies of this. It's no good. You're not going to get the proper genuine marked up board because the solder pads are a lot better. We begin to copy all them components onto this circuit board and make that circuit this board. We do that by having all our parts ready in a little parts box here. All the components of that circuit you see there are all contained in this box here, and we just lay them out pin to pin on here. This board has got loads of tracks on it, and you can cut the tracks with this cutter by spinning it into the copper track and making breaks in the circuit, so you can effectively make your own little miniature circuit board track with what's called Vero strip board. So the first one I've put on is the chip socket. You don't solder the chip straight in, you put it on a socket so you can plug the chip into the socket. It saves damaging the chips. We're going to build all those. It's relatively straightforward, mainly resistors and capacitors here. I won't go any further than that, except I'll build this up now, then we'll test it with a simulated speed controller. Halfway through this I may well get called out to go and pick up the Crypton machine, our mid-range tabletop 70s model. Pete doesn't get too serious for too long before the craziness begins. Build a circuit, pick up a Crypton, tune an engine, tune a car, it's all going on. It's a mix mash. You can even look through the viewfinder if you want. What's through the round window? Okay, I'm carrying on doing some circuit work. Leave this with me, I'll build this circuit up. Tell you what, my electronics bench soon gets a mess. Excuse me, let me clear my senses. About an hour ago, or 2 hours ago, I left you building this circuit. So we transcribed that diagram there to this mess here, and true electronics builders will have a go at me for not compacting them parts right tight in. You could probably squash it, but I did. There is a reason, a method in the madness. I've left a gap between the two blocks of the circuit because I'm going to snap the Vero board and fold it round to make it a quarter the size. So that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. If you look at this circuit, on the left block is the frequency to voltage converter, and on the right is the comparator circuit. And there's actually only one wire that joins the two, other than the common rail and the ground. You've just got that 10k pots takeoff tap. So you can snap this board in half, and then you just need the power supply to the right hand side and the input to it. You've got two separate modules, easier for fault finding as well. I normally draw like a yellow line down there and separate them across. Break this board here at the bottom. That LED was for testing, so it's up and running. I had to change a few parts. This capacitor I'd calculated wrong, so I've changed that down. The frequency just didn't. It had like a flat spot in it. I'm not quite sure why it had that flat spot, but what happens? You dial the frequency in, and then it hit this flat spot and start resonate out, and then trip the relay out halfway through. Then it dropped back in again. That would have meant at about 60 it would have dropped, and 65 cut back in. That will not do. So let's move that light. Just, you should see an LED in the top right hand corner. I'm going to touch it with the Vero track breaker. By the way, this is a Vero track breaker. It's like a little drill bit, something stuck on the end of it there, and that's what you do to make the little holes in the track to break the tracks. Just top right, you'll see there's an LED. See, LED, and that's going to flash. That represents our speed output from the VSS, the speed vehicle sensor, the vehicle speed sensor. So I'm going to try and talk you through this again in layman's terms. Red LED indicates the revolutions of the prop shaft. So if my screwdriver is the prop, it's turning. As it turns, there's a sensor on there in the back of the gearbox. Comes standard on the A4 gearboxes. As long as it's not a very early one. Very early ones didn't have it, but it's used for the fuel computer on the Granada. It's used for the speed cruise control, and later on was used for this electronic speedos. But early boxes had a sensor for the trip computer and the cruise, and the mechanical drive output for the speedo. That's what I use. So either side of the end of the output shaft on the gearbox tail shaft housing are two connections on the left and the right. Speedo, mechanical, you bolt it on, and on the other side a little speed sensor. So you have to get the right gearbox if you want to do it this way. That's rotating, and I think you get a flash for every quarter of a turn. I'm not quite sure how many, it doesn't really matter for the purposes of this, but that LED indicates each quarter turn of the prop. So if you're stationary, it can stay locked on, it can stay locked off, depends on where exactly you park your prop. You can sometimes park your prop whereby the speed sensor is on its high output. Now then, to simulate the prop shaft turning round, we've got this. It's a signal generator. You've seen it before on the earlier tech vids. This signal generator simulates the pulses coming off the revolving prop shaft, or it just simulates the speed sensor. It makes it be a speed sensor. So the input of it is just on this croc clip, and all that's doing is it's going 12, 12, 12. It actually doesn't. It's actually low voltage. It's actually little 2.5 volt pulses, this, but it doesn't really matter. On the car it'll be 12 volt pulses, or they're actually 9 volts coming out of the speed sensor. 12 goes into the speed sensor, 9 pulses come out. So As the prop shaft gets faster, these pulses of electricity go quicker, so we just start to build up. The LED will indicate that it's receiving those signals. At the moment it's very slow, with the cars just rolling probably half a mile an hour, maybe not even that's the way this is flashing. You can just about see it flashing. Okay, so let me turn the camera a little bit. As I turn this dial here, that's equivalent to me setting off in the car and the prop shaft turning quicker. This just makes the pulses. So watch this LED, it'll pick up speed, start to go quicker. Off it goes. Okay, so that's simulating, we're up to about 10 mile an hour there. 15. I know how much mile an hour it is because when I was doing the cruise, I put some little marks on here to indicate 40, and I think that's 90 mile an hour at the top. So I know round this gauge the speed, so that's handy that we've already done that. Okay, so on this side of the board, let's see if we can divide the board up for you. That goes across, the board split in two. This is the voltage comparator, so this is going to measure the voltage coming out of this chip. And as I explained, the faster them flashing LED pulses come into this chip, the more voltage it makes on this side of the circuit, and this compares the voltage to a known reference. It needs to have that because your alternator can change voltage. You don't want things going crazy when your alternator and your batteries are flat, so it has to reference itself, so it self-calibrates. Otherwise it would be going off at different speeds depending on different battery charges. You wouldn't want that, so it has a voltage reference and it compares the difference between the two voltages. So the battery voltage is here on the top. It'll compare the difference between the battery voltage and the voltage generated by this chip, which is dependent upon the amount of times that flashes. So it self-calibrates. Otherwise, if you didn't have that comparator chip, it would be triggering at different voltages as well as different speeds. You wouldn't want that. So I'm going to turn the speed up to about 35, 40, which is when I want this to come on. This will get faster. You'll see it now. Up it goes. So it should be coming in any second now. This light will go on and this relay will click. Should be there any minute now. We're coming up to where I need it to be on. There it goes. It's come on at about 38. That'll do. Now you can trim it in. I can go on these trimmers. Look, I can go on this and set exactly where I want it. Watch, this will get rid of it. Turning that in. Gone. So I can set my cutting position just to where I want. Let's just take it out a little bit. Just gonna get on the rock point. Just there. And now we need more speed to get that to come in. See the LED? Increase speed, please. Come on. Faster. 40. 45. 45 now. And that's how it works. So that's running. We've got it where we need it to be. Turn it down. And that's our speed circuit done. So that works. So all we've got to do is box this up and put it in with the next part of the circuit. There's a damper circuit and there's the vac loading on the engine circuit, which also works in conjunction with this. So that's the next mission. We're going to get this so it fits in a project box. But the theory's done. It worked a little bit different than what I thought. There's a couple of anomalies which I don't understand, and I had to sort of capacitate them out. This capacitor had to be increased. I couldn't get it where I wanted it to be. As I said, I've just sketched this out, and these calculations, well, when you get it into the real life situation, don't always follow through. Anyway, that's what it's all about. More advanced electronics people will be able to do this better than me. I'm a bit of a novice still, to be fair, but I get it going in the end. And once you learn, you tend to remember. It's going to be tidied up a little bit now. I'll just bring these cables come back. It's not as messy as what it looks. There's a lot of wasted space, I agree, but I did that because I'm breaking the board in half and flipping this backwards, so the box is only a small square box that houses it. Okay, I shall carry on. Just thought I'd let you know how we're getting on. We'll get on good. Right, I've just made some modifications to this. I've added a voltage regulator, 7812 voltage regulator, which means that if your alternator goes beyond 12 volts, which it does, it goes up to 14 volts, doesn't it, as you well know. This device here, you stick 12 volts in. It needs a ground, by the way, for it to work. You shove 12 volts in one side, 14 volts, whatever you want, 20 volts in one side, and 12 volts always comes out the other side, the way that it's built. A little circuit in there which basically regulates the voltage and keeps everything at 12. So as long as you've got a minimum of 11 and 11, 9, 12 coming in, it'll always give 12 out. Even if you put 24 volts in, it'll give 12 out this side. Voltage regulator. Reason? We don't want the timing circuits getting affected by the way the alternator is going to charge the battery up and down. All these components here rely upon a fixed voltage in order to create the time circuitry in all these parts. Mess with that voltage and you mess with the time circuitry. That's why a lot of electronics think if you ever pull anything apart, you'll always find some kind of voltage stabilization and regulation on the board. So we need to do that. If we were running on a regulated power supply, we wouldn't need it, but a car battery inevitably varies. So for that reason, this voltage regulator goes in, regulator. I've added a capacitor here, which is like a sort of softener for the relay. It'll stop it bouncing and chattering if anything went wrong. Gives it a 1 second holding delay. So if I remove power from this storage charge here will hold the power across, so it's now impossible for me to make that relay click off and on really quick. It will always have a second delay on it. That's just a backup. If anything went wrong, you wouldn't want your solenoid on your gearbox to clunk off and on really quick if this relay goes mental. So that's a bit of a backup device. Okay, we've trimmed these in now to match the exact 12 volts, and we've gone on to the bench power supply, which simulates the alternator and car battery, because you can go up to 20 volts on this, a little bit further actually, so we can whack that right up and we'll see that it doesn't affect. You'll see the voltage climb, same as what would happen on your charging of your battery. So what I do now is I wave this around and I try and make it simulate bad running conditions in the car to make sure that this doesn't get affected by it, which it doesn't. The voltage holds out. We connect the other end of my voltmeter to the rail, the voltage rail, just there, and we check that we've always got what we want. That's 11.8. So you actually get, funnily enough, you actually lose a little bit if you over push these, because it tries to compensate. They like sort of 14, 15 going in. I've just shoved 18, 19 into that. It's not getting warm, it's not doing any work. So that's good. The scope's now connected. There's the probe from the oscilloscope. You've seen these scopes similar on the Crypton machines we've been doing these last few videos. And this on the scope screen at the moment is what my circuit board is looking at. You're seeing a slight scrolling across to the left. That's just an artifact to do with the way the camera's recording. It actually appears stationary on the screen. I might be able to alter this so that you can see it's more stable, but I probably can't. No. Let's try the time division, see if you get a little bit more stable picture there. Look. Okay. I can lock you on as well if you want. I'm watching the screen of the camera now, not the screen in real life, so that's what you're seeing. Don't think I'll get you to stay still. Just the way it is. It is. Anyway, what you're seeing there is called a square wave. You can actually draw lines between these points and you get this square shape. This is simulating the speed output sensor on the gearbox, which, as I said, is generated by this. So that's called the signal generator, and this is the scope. The scope just shows me that the pictures, the output waveform from this is displayed here, and it's put into the circuit there. At the moment we're on, and the red light's bleeping that quick that the naked eye can't see it. And you'll notice as I reduce the speed, this being the speed, it's not speed but it is speed. If you imagine this as the prop shaft rotating. Let's watch this. It'll change the waveform as we reduce the amount of times per second that the signal is put out. And you'll see it slowing down there. Currently, sorry, I've increased the speed. Do apologise, I'm going the other way. That increase of speed means that you still can't see that pulse light there, and the torque converter is still locked up. Go back the other way. That's what I meant to do. Back we go. And you'll see that the gap, the on time, begins to increase. That's called the cycle or the frequency. Look how their lines have changed pattern now, because it's spending a longer time periods off and longer time periods on, because that shaft's turning slower. So there's longer periods when it's off because it takes a while to get round to the switch to turn it on again. When it does turn it on, it's turning that slow, it stays on for ages. So that's the frequency. It's knocked it out now. The LED's still so quick you can't see it. So we go down. You start to see the LED go. And that's it, we are done. And it's that quick now that you can't see this square, so I turn down the range. And you'll just see a dot bouncing up and down. That's the 12 volt pulses. Off, on, off, on, off, on. See how that works? Increase prop shaft and you'll see it dance. It goes that quick now that you can't tell. So you have to change the time base and you get the picture back in. And that's it. So we're all set there. We're all ready to go here. It's just a question of boxing it up now. Guys, we are flooding out in Tina G. Now, you just saw me doing that electronics, and that's looking really good, that controller for the torque converter lockup. So I hope that I explained it clear to you, or as clear as I can. We'll do a little bit more electronics from time to time. But for now, let's open up the tabs! Oh! Wow! Ah! Woo! This is mental. You're in Tina G. We're doing a lot of miles an hour. And these road conditions are bad. So the distance in front of me here on this motorway, we're on the M58. Massive distance between the next car, and as soon as this gap closes up, I will be dropping the speed right down. At the moment we're at, actually not too bad, we're at 60, we're okay. $65, we'll keep it at that. Terrible road conditions. We're on the way to get that Crypton machine, and what an exciting journey we've got laid up for you today, ladies and gentlemen, out there in Patreon and YouTube land. You might have some noisy wipers, but not too bad. To keep you revved up and to keep you entertained, Pete C. Losing the plot. We're out of here on Red Bull. A little bit of the Ambonectar for this Friday night road trip. You're on the M58 at the moment, heading west, joining the M6, M602, M62 for Holmfirth, West Yorkshire. Holmfirth, everybody. Now then, the tyres on this, they're evergreen tyres, a load of rubbish. You can tell the difference. The walls aren't as stiff. The tyres are really flexy, very wobbly, so it's not as a firmer ride as the other cars. This it is firmer. It's just the tyres have not got much in them. They're all inflated. I don't mean that. I'm just saying you can really feel the difference between a quality tyre. Much more nervous driving this one than the other fleet. But I am a veteran of this car. One hour and 9 minutes to go to our Crypton destination. It's another Crypton machine then, as mentioned. Whoa! Whoa, sideways! Whoa! Woo! It's a really gusty, wintry day. We've not hit spring yet. We're in March, March the 8th. But spring is imminent. Spring is just right on the doorstep. Road conditions are bad, but not far off the worst you could get. We're hoping for a break in the weather. Reasonably quiet cabin. The M6 change now. Checking your view, yep, you can still see. Need to adjust that mirror on the left. Gonna hold on, gonna have to adjust this while we drive. Shit. Get it out of it, that's it, we got it. The only problem we're not having a lecky mirrors, of course. Man on the bridge there. Walker's Crisp lorry. Speaking of Walker's Crisps, Dave, our transport and cameraman, is chock full of crisp packets. Wait till you see inside his car. Looks like he's got his own crisp factory going on there. Right hand lane. Optional extras. We're going to join the M6 next. Underneath the M6 itself. Look back on. Traffic good. All lights green. No reported traffic incidents on this route today, folks. around with Cortina G doing well. I'm going to build up a little bit of speed. Watching this now, stopping distance on this car. These tyres tend to slide quite easy compared to all the other vehicles I'm running, and these are the worst tyres. They're evergreens, and you can really tell the difference. For the wet, I'd say the Uniroyal Rainmasters are the best. Good prices, quite a soft rubber on those. Demon Twigs were doing an offer on them, 48 quid each, 185 1370s Uniroyal Rainmasters. I'm running Avons, Uniroyals and Continentals across the fleet. Here we go. Surface spray coming up now. No auto wipers, of course, so fully manual. Giving me no stopping distance at all, of course. Permission to go to cruising speed. Hope you don't pick this up.
There were a couple of strong ones on our first night, and I was actually convinced that at the time I'd woken up that I'd been dreaming. And then I went back and checked the magnitudes and spoke to volcanologists, so I was told no, they won't have earthquakes. Because what's going on is that there are, as you say, these kind of thousands of earthquakes. So it started at 2,000 a day, but only a handful of them are sort of about 4 or 5 on the Richter scale in magnitude, and they're the ones you can feel, and then you have these thousands of other ones which are sort of below 3 that you don't tend to feel just happening all the time, but the ones that you do feel sort of tend to shake the buildings here and a little bit.
So what
for
is
a few seconds at least.
So what is going on, and what is the fear about what this will mean for volcanic activity?
So when you get so many of these earthquakes all together, what it means is that magma is moving up through a volcano and it could be about to erupt. So that's what people think here is going to happen, that one of these volcanoes on the Rhettania Peninsula on the southwest of the island is about to erupt. Now they thought it was imminent last week, but you get these surges of activity. So we had a couple of quiet days, but then overnight it sort of picked up again. And this area is causing a bit of concern because it's quite near to Reykjavik, so it's only about 20 miles away. Iceland's very used to its volcanic eruptions, but not really this close to where people live. There is a small fishing village that's quite close as well. But the scientists sort of mapped how they think the lava will flow out of the volcano as it makes its way to the sea.
All okay so far. All okay so far. Nothing interesting to report. Same old, same old. Traffic light too good. We're now on the M62. To put a little bit more speed down.
motor actually did, or even who he was, which is perhaps surprising, because Zarathustra, or as he's more widely known, Zoroaster, was the founder of one of the great religions of the world. For centuries, along with Judaism, Christianity and Islam, it was one of the four dominant faiths of the Middle East. It was the oldest of the four, the first of all the text-based religions.
She has suicidal ideation, part and parcel with her Asperger's. But she became so heightened, she started to self-harm, which I'm used to. Chloe, she'd stab herself in her legs with forks and with keys, with CDs, with CD covers. Downstairs to her own medication.
To help you find the right cover for your business, from plumbers and electricians to landlord or taxi insurance, visit scripton.co.uk.
The F85 has delays heading counter-clockwise at junction 26 towards the Abbey. Actual recovery work continues there, so the actual slip road partly blocked last the inside lane. Now, problems on the trains because of overhead line problems. There's no service on the London Overground between Liverpool Street and Chingford and Enfield Town. Also, Greater Anglia and the Stansted Express services between Liverpool Street and Tottenham Hale are being diverted via Stratford. I'm Emma Bussey.
Food loving Brits, I'm here to tell you there are more local restaurants than ever before on Uber Eats. We're bringing it.
Really? Even Book's Chicken?
Oh, don't sneak up on me like that. And yes, we bring buggies.
Matthew's round the corner.
And then,
Mexico, kebab rush.
and Uber Eats like you. New customers like you for 10 off. Read all this with code BRITISH10.
I bet you don't bring spat bombs.
What's just for me? No, I'm kidding. Of course we bring them. Minimum spend £50. DPT supply to heavy delivery, transport availability of delivery restaurants. Talk Sport. 3 cheers to the nation's delivery drivers. Clean and parcel. Just leave on the step line. Coronavirus. Let's stamp it out. What we need, Max, we need a bit of just had a complaint about a squeaky chair from a listener, and you're just changing chairs. We need to bring in that great old England cricketer, WD-40. Very good. What a player he was. Yeah, it's a rap.
Title of the morning mystery oldie champion and Get the Cup. Be listening to Greatest Hits Radio tomorrow morning at 7:30.
Hey, I got a great idea to get around YouTube copyright. Detune the radio a little bit, and we can listen to Donna Summer's hot stuff. Detune, and the algorithm won't pick it up. A bit closer on the microphone now. As we switch to chest cams, they're all nicely connected to Pete's chest cam thing, like the bailiffs have and the police. Great, these, aren't they? With it being an automatic as well, I enjoy just sort of resting my arm every now and again. Thank you very much. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it, those bastards who report me. It's a chest cam, so prove it. See you in court. Thank you, good night. I know who you are anyway. Birch Services next for your rave stop. We'll soon begin that climb over the Pennines, a climb over the Nines. No sign of any lockdown, quieter traffic in this area. Seems as busy as it always has been. Looking out for plainclothes folks. No. I think that's dangerous. That's downright. Look at the state of that back window. Guy's outrageous. Our first drama of the day. Never had this happen to me ever in my life. Running Cortinas. Spat a wiper blade. And then new blades. New clip-on blades, brand new rubbers. Never ever lost a blade. Now you might think, hell, you can't run that. You're going to scratch your screen. Well, it's plastic against glass at the moment because I've got a zip tie just round the arm there. So nothing wrong with the car. They're eBay blades, and they weren't Tex, but you know, they looked all right. There was a good chrome finish on them, nice rubbers on them. Just the clip mustn't have been tight enough up. As soon as I switched my wipers to speed 2, it spat the blade out. Somebody behind us is wearing a wiper blade. Oh Christ, I hope I didn't get spotted. I hope it didn't hit anybody. Blooming heck, he just spat it straight off. What do you reckon, folks? About our first major incident I've had in a Cortina since the fire. So yeah, what I do, I had to run it. I just switched to a minimum wipe. I've got Rain-X in as well. Because you've got Rain-X in, you can actually survive with no blades, would you believe? I don't know if you've ever tried it, but if you have Rain-X in your washer bottle and your wipers go, you can drive with no wipers if you've got the right concentrated level of Rain-X in. And we've got probably a little bit less than I would normally have, but it's enough to drive with no blade on that side. Well, I ain't got no blade on this side either, but it was enough to have my wipers off on, you know, this side, so I wasn't scratching the glass. So that was it. We'll catch you in a sec. We are in Huddersfield. We're going straight through Huddersfield to Holmfirth. A trip, one wiper jack. But that zip tie, as I say, on the end of the blade means vinyl to glass won't scratch it. It's the best we can do till we get a blade. Maybe this classic car garage we're going to in a minute will have a blade for us, you never know. I have got some spares back at the unit because I ordered more than one, but I'll be checking the clips on them. In the meantime, we're going to get through, it's quite a laborious route to be fair. Here we go. Holmfirth to the right. Holmfirth to the right. Here we go. There's a reg plate just in front, like, I don't know if you can see that Range Rover in front of me. 1JP, that reg must be worth a bomb. Definitely another world. Welcome aboard, One Wiper Jack. I am One Wiper Blade Jack. And check out 1JP, what a crazy reg. Just 8 minutes away then, folks. What a trip. Lost a blade, probably decapitated somebody. Jacob's Well fallen. No, Jacob's Well's okay, just waiting to reopen. Jacob's Well, Holmfirth, Huddersfield, Holmfirth, Jacob's Well, waiting to reopen. I'm going to have the window up now, folks, and I think we're sort of, the pressure is off a little bit. It's a hell of a trek. It seems like we've been like dredging through quicksand trying to get here. For what looked like a very easy trip on the maps, it didn't show me going through Huddersfield. I noticed when we were going through Huddersfield there was a multi-storey car park, proper 70s one, getting the chop, so there's another one gone. Not that they're the most attractive looking thing, but the little anchors to childhood bit by bit get eroded away and a new world steps forward. Some woodland on the right, ancient woodland on the right by the looks of things. Saying 7 minutes now for this. Car's running good. Had a little bit of a splutter when it got really heavily contaminated with water or drenched with water. So I think this lead set's probably not quite as good as the other lead sets I've got, or it could be that the king lead is, I think on this it's got a long king lead that loops round a little bit, and you should always try and keep your king lead reasonably short, give it enough slack for engine movement, but sometimes I've noticed those long king leads, when they sort of loop round a little bit and they get wet, they can be a source of HT leakage. This is more like the roads I expected. I just didn't expect to be going through Huddersfield there. And really keep your eyes peeled at junctions like this. So apologies for the blade. Boris the Blade. Now we're getting into where I envisaged it. The countryside is opening up. We leave that suburbia behind us. You're still on with Pete C from Cortina City MOT Garage, Holmfirth Garage. That looks a nice classic little garage setup for Holmfirth Garage. A Mirko garage there. 5 minutes 40. 1.8 miles to go. Your local police station, is it 70s one? Yep, it is. A lot of police stations were sort of rebuilt in the 70s, I don't know if you noticed. Take Blackpool, take Leyland, take Chorley. Police stations, and they all got a similar look.
So what the apps?
Why don't we get something decent to listen to on the radio? A lot of rubbish. Oh. Holmfirth we're in. We have entered. and then 55 half a mile.
That's adapt to, you know, a different type of Barcelona sport.
I don't think the sat nav's right. It's showing this as a dead end. It could be right, actually. Yeah, it might be right. It does ring a bell. I looked on Google Maps for this place. It's a classic car garage. I think it's coming up, actually. Can't go much, but we're going to run out of road. It's got to be here, hasn't it? It's got to be this on the right. No, it's not that. It's posh round here. Oh, we've hit like a micro storm. It's really rough. Hold on, what's this? I think it wants us to. Whoa! Jeez, where the hell are we going? Look at this. I'm glad I got brakes. This looks like something out of Emmerdale. Have a look outside. Mrs. Wilkes, I'm Mrs. Wilkes. Hello, Mrs. Wilkes. Seth, I'm Mrs. Wilkes. This is just like a crazy trip. Now we're back on the main road again. What a waste of time that was. Or are we going straight? No, we're going straight across there. I think it is right because I recognise that carding shed sign. This is so we're straight across here now. What's that there? Load of crap. Ain't no dead end now. It's about as remote as you can get, isn't it? Got to be coming up soon. It really has. I think it's showing another crossing to do. Do we go down and across? We must do. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. We're here. We've got it. What a trip. The gardening shed now. Is it next one? I think we can just go here, can't we? Wow, this looks nice. Bloody hell, look at this. Woo! A Triumph greets us. Yet another classic here to greet us. Exit only, entry. Wow. Let's turn off one-eyed Jack. Because Dave can't park. Hold on, we'll be right back. But some classics meet us. What have we got there? Triumph, I think. Why? Keep it classic! Dave, I feel like I've been on a mission to hell and back. Is it me, or was it me, or was that an absolute bitch to get to?
Absolute
What the
nightmare.
hell? Through
Up and down it.
Huddersfield? Over there?
Up and down hills like no tomorrow.
Have you seen this place?
Oh,
Check it out,
my
but there's
word.
nobody here. There's all sorts. There's a Jag in there. Oh my god, I've never seen so many classic cars that look. I don't know where everybody is. I can't. It's a ghost town. The Oil Can Cafe. Wow, look at that in there. Wow, look at that for a cafe.
Wow.
Dave, we have found a gem.
This is.
Look at that. We've got to go in there and film that. I wonder if he'll let me film it. Look at this. All on TripAdvisor, all full marks. The Oil Can Cafe, it's called. Hang on, let's just get this camera to behave itself. Yeah, there's no one around. I think they've all been washed down the hill. A lot of them got washed down. It's horrendous. Look. Look at that, we've got a load up in this. It's actually a river running down the road. It doesn't get much grimmer than this, Dave.
Does it?
So we see if we can find anybody.
Yeah, let's have a dabble.
I feel a bit bad pulling in here. I've no permission. I'm sure they'll be all right. A TR6, I knew it. These are the ones with which the wheels look a bit too big for the car. But before I do anything, we better check in.
Hello?
There's nobody here. All classics abandoned. We have gently knocked. Careful. There's somebody. It's a big place, isn't it? This place is huge. Folks, it's an absolute blizzard out there of rain. But we're at the mill and we are with the Motorscope. Here it is. And that is correct. That is a 70s styled Motorscope. Basic. Large screen on it though. I think that's a slightly larger screen than our normal ones. Could this cabinet be original Crypton? I suppose it looks like it. It's just with these outriggers here. I wasn't sure. It didn't look, but it probably is right. It's probably all as it should be. So we have ourselves. There's a button missing there. That's a shame. But essentially, we've got everything in one setting there. So you've got one rotary control. So we'll see if we can get it in the car.
It's such a good
Yeah.
dying to see that.
I like that. The Vauxhall there. I love these oil cans. It's like a mini car for, what's that? Answers on a postcard for that, please. There we go, the camera actually works now. Got to use that little wheel there to tilt it sometimes. It's got a little mind of its own, this thing. It does it like JCB oils. Yeah, it's good that. I like the total sign. Yeah. Now these replica pumps, I've got the fiberglass one like this, but it's a shell one. This is, oh, it's a locker cabinet. They've made it themselves. Look, printed out a clock, and it's a locker, someone's locker. Wow. A copy RAC pillar box thing. Phone call. Oh, there you go. Now they're talking, Dave. Look.
That is absolutely.
This is proper for Ford as well.
Is it?
Yeah. Do you want to film me in front of that? PC from Cortina City, it's Friday. Time for another Crypton video. Take it away, Dave. Woo! a nice little moggy. Wonder what number it was. 1 million of them made. I've got these tins. It's on a proper Castrol thing as well there. Yeah. Because you can get them Castrol tins now like that, Ian. They've started remaking them again. That's nice, that, isn't it? I like the family things. Locker cabinet. Cool. Yeah, so a Rolls Royce in, or is it? Yeah, it is. Bentley, yeah.
Bentley, there's such a
Fancy,
body
yeah.
on it.
Nice. It's nice and airy and warm, but it costs some money to heat it. Some serious bikes as well. A chopper, original, is it?
Is that the colour they've got?
No, what's that centre?
No, it's.
Oh, that's a primer.
There's a 250 to 300,000 pound restoration there. Why not do it in the store for customers?
What bike is that?
It's the American version. It's
Wow.
Dragster.
Wow, I've never seen one of those. My friend restores grifter bikes. I didn't even know they did that. Cool, there's some bikes. I've got a couple of classic bikes, not many. There's an old rocking horse there. Is that an American car at the end?
There's 2 Buicks.
Oh, yeah. That's nice. Oh, look at this. Hmm? Yeah, I know, yeah, that's right. Look at this. I've got some friends who've got the Vauxhall Heritage Collection in their storage unit because they didn't have anywhere to put it. A friend runs a place called Manor Park Classics up in Cheshire, and they've got quite a lot of the Vauxhall collection there.
Right.
This is beautiful. Is this yours?
No, customers.
It's absolutely fantastic, that car.
I mean, it's mine in his will when he died.
Hey, yeah. I think some brake fluid might be needed. That's nice, really is. Oh, that's got a nice smell in there. Very good.
Pickup truck that was converted into a van. So they do the Austin
Wow.
1800
Is
as
it-
a pickup truck in Australia.
Right.
But that was apparently commissioned by Rupert Murdoch, the newspaper.
Wow.
bloke, and he converted the pickup truck into a van for his English estate.
It's got to be rare then, hasn't it? So that looks like similar to the Land Crab front, but it's...
Well, it is.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It's an Australian built. They built them as a pickup truck.
So look at that, folks. That is a rare beast. I've never seen this at the NEC, Ian, or anywhere at a show. I've done a few shows up this way. Wow, that's a rare beast. In fact, well, I've never seen one, and that's it.
It's unique as the little van. So
Wow.
it's all custom made, is that?
And that's a very early Rover there. Is that an SL under there?
SL500.
That's a beast as well, isn't it? Supercharged.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lovely car. Buick looks good. I had a 63 Cadillac Fleetwood. I've sold it now. That was the closest I came to being an American car owner. It was a 63 Caddy on the Fleetwood 4-door. Very nice indeed. Both Buicks there. So yeah, it's that. Yeah, that's good. Well, we've had a good look. Some beautiful bikes. The last place we went to was a classic car garage in Stourbridge last week to pick a Crypton up. Picked up a big monster Crypton machine in Stourbridge, and he had Formula 2 cars. He had, what else did he have in there? He had a few, not as big as this. Yeah, so workshops in there, an American in. What's that one at the end?
That's a 58 Oldsmobile 88 Rocket.
Wow. This is a very nice place. I'd love to have a workshop like this. Warm, bright, room to move.
Well, we can cram it.
Yeah. Love to get on. I miss me welding, to be fair. Right.
Either XJS's, XJCs or Series 1s.
Yeah.
That series, the grey Series 1 is his there.
Yeah.
We think we've got, well, we're aiming to get, I think, either 3 or 4 of them ready for 2025 for the 50th anniversary of the C.
The C version.
XJS.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this one we're going to get it running and clear coat it.
So yeah, you're going to leave that patina finish. It looked like a sort of, was it that olivey green this, or was it more of a
Olive green fern grey they call it.
fern?
It's a very solid shell.
Yeah.
It's come from a dry state,
Yeah.
so it's very solid.
It's funny how that patina works in like the California climate type places. It doesn't seem to eat in, does it? It seems to stay sat on top. Whereas like when you leave a car in a field in England, it seems to come in from the back and rot out. But like you say, they sort of put an oil on it, don't they? Or they can clear coat it.
We're going to clear coat
Yeah.
it with Scotch-Brite in clear coat.
Yeah, that'll look good.
Get it running, yeah. And he's going to use it as it is. We've got, as I say, I think we've got 6 of these. And
I know where there's a
a lot of them are pre-production.
Wow.
Prototype.
Wow, is it okay to?
Yeah. And so
Now that's a rare thing to have the pre-production and prototype ones imported or
yeah, this one's from
America. Course left hooker, yeah. It looks like it's.
the chassis number 2 pre-production.
Wow.
That's a UK car. Well, no. Left the factory's left-hand drive and then went back to the factory
Yeah.
and was converted to right-hand drive. That's the first 5 chassis were.
Wow. Well, that's not a small undertaking, is it? Is it a bulkhead out job for that?
Well, with this one.
For converting it back to converting it,
Well, no, we'll leave it.
leaving it right.
We're going to leave it as it's been suggested that we leave it, even though on the heritage certificate it says it was left-hand drive, because of its history, we've been told to leave it as a right-hand drive. But there's loads of bits different on the chassis number 2. And then chassis number 1, I think is chasing that, but that's in Australia, and that's got a Series 1 front end on it.
Was it chassis number 2 on the C series, or of which Mark was the chassis 2? Did he start it when
they were all? There was only one that was done with a Series 1 front end.
Right.
They were all Series 2.
I see. So
short wheelbase chassis.
Yeah. I think I prefer the short wheelbase. I mean, this is like the right proportions, I think, for the car. Did they do was it Daimlers as well, long wheelbase on when they did the Daimlers?
Yeah, do the Daimler. The Series 2, the first, I'm not right sure how many they produced, but the first few were all short wheelbase, and then from then on, all the Series 2, Series 3s were the long wheelbase chassis.
Yeah, well this is good example. Gonna look nice, isn't it, that? Obviously there's a bit of chrome missing, but I presume that can be obtained.
No, we've got the chrome. Yeah, we've got all the chrome.
I like the way that it does do that. There's something quite picturesque about that, the way it does that. I know there's some red oxide on there, but yeah, great, thanks. Number 13, lucky for some. And that's the American spec bumper, isn't it? Yeah. They're crazy, aren't they? I think that I never was a fan of them but they had to do it, didn't they?
Back in the
Quite
UK,
a lot of cars wouldn't have that. It's sort of like to do with
it's all sorts. Is this one?
It's just to do with the impact, pedestrian impact. America wanted these rubber. Yeah, that's right. We'll have to do that.
It's a Californian thing.
Yeah.
Whereas the rest of the states, they're all in
red, aren't they?
Yeah, but the Californian cars were orange.
That's a rare. I've never seen that. I've seen American Jags. I don't know ever seen them in red. I know where there's a few of these 12Cs in a field. They're on my YouTube channel. If you're interested, I'll let you know where they are. There's at least one of these, and that's why I recognised it. And I don't know what's happening with it, but it isn't it.
In this country, they usually rotten.
Oh, it's absolutely gone.
This one.
But I just didn't know if you wanted any spares from it, because it is rotting in this field.
We've got 14 of them.
Okay. Right, you can't give them away. Okay.
They all have a unit that holds the.
Let's have a look at that.
That holds the windscreen in, which the UK cars
Look at
don't
that.
have.
Wow, yeah. Look at
And
that.
they've all got, instead of the big headlights, they've all, the American ones have small headlights.
Look at this. 5 3/4.
Whereas the English ones have the same inner headlights, but bigger outer headlights.
Yes. As you can see there. I prefer that. I think it looks meaner like that. But I'd have to somehow get rid of this. I take it, they drill all the holes in there and you can't take it off, you're left with it. That's gone as well, hasn't it then? But you could always weld and re-chrome. But these things, I mean, they put them on a lot of exporting cars, if not all of the ones that went out there. I'm trying to think, was it the MG, BGT, and they shoved these on the front, didn't they? Wow, thanks for letting us look at that. Very big wheels on the TR6. Ian's going to let us look in the cafe. We're at IK Classics, that's where we're at, everybody. It's a lovely place to come in the summertime. Look at all this room in here. It's absolutely cavernous. Some more choppers as well for chopper lovers. Look at those 2 chopper bikes. Even got a Mini parked in here. Look at all the ultimate memorabilia. It's very heavy rain. All the drums been most likely mocked up, but they look nice. A big cafe. So we're going to have to starve. Look at all this. Them bikes. Original chopper bikes. If you know your bikes, there'll be some slight differences between these. Looks like the tyres are in good order on this. Could this be a low mileage chopper? I can still see the bubbles. So, Ian, is this a low mileage bike? Because these tyres look.
No, I think the new tyres on there don't belong to us.
Oh, okay. It's a part of a collection.
It's a lad who collects them, and we had 2 here that he took away, and these 2 came back.
Okay.
that's the end of them. That's
Yeah.
the last one.
Which this one or
No,
the silver?
The silver one.
Yeah, because they changed the lever.
It's got alloy wheels and all sorts.
That's right, of course. Andy will know this. I'm not up. I mean, I had a chopper and I had a commando and a sprint. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Oh, what's that little one at the back there? I don't know my older stuff. In fact, I don't know a lot of stuff. Yeah.
That's Austin 7 Cummins.
You see, I'm rubbish. Okay. And a hell of a lot of grills. Don't want a Riley Elf grill, do you, for your wall? I bought a Crypton machine and there's a Riley Elf grill in the bottom. I don't know if it's worth anything. What would you expect a grill to go? It might be the... Is it? Can you spot it, Dave? That grill we got, is it on the wall there? It had like a blue Elf badge, Riley badge on top. I can't quite see it. It was... Oh, that's... Is it that? No. Similar to that. No, that's not. No, there's not a Riley one. There's the ones off the Austin and Wolseley badges. That one lights up that badge, doesn't it?
Yeah, in the centre, yeah.
And that was off. Was that for Austin 1300? Wolseley 1300.
Yeah.
1300. They did a GT in it, if I recall. Oh, I'm not very good with my old cars. Very nice. Right, well, we better get on our way. Look, you want a steering wheel?
I like how they've made lights out of the
Yeah.
steering wheels as well.
And look at the views for the cafe. I'm surprised I've never heard about this place. You could have some great car meets here, but the council not letting you do it.
No, well, we used to do it at the old spot. But the last one we did, or the last big one that we did, we thought we'd get 250 to 300 cars, and we stopped counting at 1,200.
Wow.
And we blocked the whole of this side of Huddersfield.
Right.
So we had complaints from police, council,
Ah,
everybody.
and they're the ones that are trying to plan events. Why don't they just say...
The police came down and wanted to know what was going on and what had happened, etc., which we told them.
Yeah.
And then I said, but that's the last one we'll be doing, I can't do with it again.
No,
He said, no, don't do that. I said, then the buggers have won if you do that. Oh no, you can't do that. No, you've got to do it again. Just let us know next time and we'll, then when anybody asks us, we'll tell them, piss off.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, do you want me to keep an eye out for a sun tuner? In case I see one on my travels?
Hello, daughter.
It's a family business. Right, well, we're going to head out on the road. We thank you very much for letting us have a look around your
problem,
lovely
Mark.
premises.
Safe journey back.
Very nice to meet you. And thanks for the bargain priced Crypton.
No problem, I'm glad it's going to a good home.
Yeah, it is. We'll look after it. We'll have it on the road. Let's get back through that Yorkshire weather and then let's hope that 62 doesn't blow me bloody coil lead was getting that wet. It was starting to splutter the car, which has never ever happened before. We'll see you shortly. Goodbye. Bloody hell, that was brilliant. I'm so made up. Here you are, Dave. Try and get me. If you have problems, use that. Top machine is brilliant! Get out of it. Did you like that garage? Let's get the car. It's on the rental. Let's get the Crypton machine back. Hang on, I'll just get a quick bite to eat. Fucking hell, Dave. It's like Walker's Crisp Factory.
Can't beat Walkers.
You on a healthy diet, Dave?
Very healthy, very healthy.
And here you are, he's a cornerstone of nutrition from Dangerous Dave's car. I mean, do you like your crisps?
Oh, I love me crisps.
I can tell. Bloody hell. This is like the gaffer's car. Dave was saying the Cortina was getting up the hills better than the, what's this called?
Insignum.
A what?
The Signum.
Signy. See you in a minute. I'll see you on the M62, Dave.
See you soon.
That's dangerous. He's got a 2-into-1 wheel go. He's got the back of his windows made of wood. Two-into-1 wheel go dangerous. Get your back window fixed.
I certainly will.
Do you want a tune up? Do you want a Crypton tune up?
Crypton tune up. Can't split it.
Oh my god. Get a proper car, get a Cortina. I still have Easter, but what? I'm getting blown away. Whoa! We out of here. We mental. Right, let's get back on the road. I hope we go a better way back. I tell you what, how about that? Wasn't that exciting? I tell you what, how about let's get the sat nav. I tell you what, they had everything. This place has got everything. See the new Buicks. The new Buicks are out early. No, the new Oldsmobiles are in early this year. This place has got everything. Did you enjoy that? I was going to say, did you like that? But I'm not going to say that. Now, why won't this let me track? There you go. Let's get back on the road, folks. 1 hour and 32 minutes of pure driving hell. And we've got a very slight leak on this screen rubber. Now, it never used to do that since it's been in long-term storage. Anyway, so we constantly, my carpet is a bit wet there, and then that then condensates, which is why you get this. Never mind. We're on the road again. Trip. All in the name of Crypton. It's an interesting looking machine. Hold on, folks. Wait a minute. Now that's what the camera couldn't compensate for. Bracket twist. A little bit of bracket twist there. Yeah, a little bit of bracket twist. Hang on, let's get you back in. Tighten you up, lock and load. There you go. A little bit of bracket twist. Don't want any of that. I'll catch you in a sec when we're back at base. Catch you in a sec. We'll catch you in a sec when we're back at base. I'll spare you the pain of the M62. But wow, we just picked up a Crypton. Let's get it back and check it out. But let's just hope also that the rain eases off, because wow, what a trip. Dave says you can't keep up the hills with the Cortina. It's got the power. Wow. We loved you long time. $5. Let's go. Range Rover typically not giving way. Sodom. Visual gits. It looks like a respite from the rain. Just a touch. You're still on. Looking good. Battery power coming down. So we're going to have to leave you here. No motorway driving. Now, you had plenty on the way up. Now, it's more of the same. We're going downhill. Battery's about to go. Okay. Battery. Whoa, you're at the top of my head. Not many people want to give way for you around here. Okay, we're back on the road again. There's no point filming the motorway. We're going to run out of battery power anyway. So our battery's going to stall. We're just going to cut off any minute now. So because of that, we're going to say goodbye. Well, goodbye to driving in Tina till we're back at base with the 70s machine, which we got for a bargain price. Although I must admit, it's been a bit of a mission coming up here. What on paper looked easy, in reality turned out to be like wading through quicksand. Ooh, is that an old cinema? Holmfirth's nice. Holmfirth is nice. We do like Holmfirth. Battery's coming up now, folks. I'm going to let it just fade away. It'll just cut out. Uh-oh. A guy says stop. Well, that's no problem. That's no problem. We can stop. Sounds like the law's on the way. Whoa! Whoa, a car's rolled it. A car has rolled. Whoa. Whoa, straight over. People just can't drive. Folks, Crypton machine stripped and ready for the dip. Look at all these parts we've got here. These, so one of the 60s ones getting ready to ship out for its nice, fully stripped down for its nice refurb. We've photographed these decals here. Decals there, Motorscope, look, let's get that up for you to see. Motorscope. Okay, so all the parts, including the gas analyzer, the whole lot, and the BMOF's in too for stripping and coating. We don't hang about, run across here now. The base cabinet has still got to be done. The BMOF, in we go. Crypton crazy Friday night. Pete C at the controls. Motorscope, everybody. Just remember that word. Motorscope with Pete C. You've got that 70s one, just picked it up. What a trip across the Pennines we had. Did you see that wiper blade fly off? Did you see that SUV roll over just as I was coming back? If you pause it, just as I'm leaving home and the guy says, I'm saying slow down, freeze the video, just on the right hand side you see an SUV turned over about 1 minute before I got there. Close escape. There was people stopped and helping, so I didn't stop. We don't hang around though. The Motorscope comes in and we strip it down already. Why? Because, well, we're pretty much done and dusted with this control. I've split the board. I'm just going to make it fit into the box. So we are super duper multitasking. This one to be done, of course, our beauty, and of course our other beauty, our Bramble. But what do we find? Well, here's a nice scope. Look at that for a tube. This is Tube City. Ooh, yeah, that's a fat tube. Roll me a fat one. Look at that bad boy a pop. Roll me a fat one, folks. How about that for a shaft? Look at the meat on that. Whoa, look at that. You get it? We hope so. Okie dokie, look at the meat on that. So, down we go. Down we go. He's already got the board out. It's crazy. What the hell are you doing? It's Flash Gordon time with the exciter stick. That reminds me. I've got to pick up some birthday cards for the wife. Okie dokie. Yeah, so why so serious? Because we're talking high voltage analytics. Here's our friendly variac, in case you didn't know. Slowly increases the power to the unit. We need to wake this thing up. So we're disconnected for now, and we're going to slowly wake it up with this controller. Okay, nothing's connected. Let's just throttle that right back. Let's get our power. 3,000 watts of power. Look at all those caps. This is definitely a 70s unit. Switch to AC. Switching to AC, folks. Let's just see what we're dialing in. Pop that there. Shove that in the output. Shove that. These leads are shit. And I think some new ones. Oh dear me. I've got another meter and I can't find it. It's gone AWOL. Right. Slowly ramp up the power. Starting off low, low, low. How low can you go? Up we go. So I'll just take it off. I'm keeping my eye on that, and we'll go for 100 volts first. 100. Come on. We've got a light coming on already. Look. Signs of life. Obviously, we won't get the tube. It's disconnected, and the HT cable. I'll be very wary of that bad boy. That's a spark jumper. That one. Watch out. Watch out. Okay. Come back to you. It's all happening on a Friday. Let's see what we get. Tubes. A little bit of warmth already coming off there. We're only up to a 55 volts there. We have some test points along the top. We're ready to be testing those. We're hooked in. Hang on. Tilt you down. Here. 700 volts. 300. 30. 23. Minus 10. Minus 300. So to get you 1 kilo-1000 volts, you go across minus 300 and 700 volts gives you your HT. I think. Anyway, I think that's how it works. Could be wrong. HT's definitely out there. Now then, let's see what we get. We need... Ooh. Right, we need a temperature probe. We need to dial we need to get the temperature of that transformer. Here it is. Come on, talk to me, baby. Hit me and hit me good. Talk to me, baby. Do you know, in the 80s, I was an amusement arcade technician. I was in charge of a lot of machines. I was in charge of nearly 500 machines. Anyway, one of those machines was the Talking Parrot, made by a company called Glendale. You put in 50 pence, you got a plastic egg, and the parrot did a little bit of talking. It had a dip switch on it, a little switch, which was called attract mode. When you left the little parrot in the cage, a robot parrot by the way, not a real one, it would say little messages to get you to come and get one of the plastic eggs, which usually inevitably had a cheap toy, because my arcade were cheapskates that I worked for. Anyway, that parrot would go, "Speak to me! Speak to me! Wap, 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 wap." As he walked, well, it wasn't motion sensor, but every couple of minutes, "Speak to me! An egg and a prize!" I don't know what kind of accent that. What the hell are you doing, lad? "Speak to me! Wap, 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 wap." Can you do a parrot impression? Anyway, the Glendale Talking Parrot was in a kind of like rubbishy, cheapo cage, and it was basically a DC 12 volt motor and a little gearbox, and it would, you put your 50p in, it triggers the micro switch, or in this case it was a Mars mechanism, MS126 mech, and a little relay output board which you could set the price on, and the egg would be dispensed, and the parrot would shake his wings and say a couple of other things as well. Oh, I think he laid the egg or something. Oh, wah, wah, wah. Then there was a chicken one, okay? Then there was a chicken one, and we had a little den behind our house where we'd go and drink and do other things in this den, and I rigged it all up with these arcade machines, and my mates would play them all. And one guy who had another arcade wanted to site his machines in my little nightclub that I had, a legal nightclub that I had. And he said, "Oh, I'll put this in and your mates will play this." Anyway, he brought round this panda, a ride-on panda. And he used to just trim it with lollipop sticks. And he wondered why nothing was in it, and we just get wasted and ride this panda. And then he brought round this toy that played guitar. And you put money in and you got an egg. God knows what he was thinking. We were in our 20s. Anyway, all the machines got messed with. Let's just put it that way. So, the original point of all that was that I'm going to talk to this and go, "Speak to me." And it looks absolutely nothing like a parrot. What a complete trippy tangent. Motorscope red then. Look, I told you they did it in red. Look. Why they did the cabinet in that colour when it should be red, I do not know. This is definitely 70s technology. I'm looking at all of this, and it's, to me, looks like some of the machines I worked on. which were built in the 70s and hit me in the 80s because they were still operational by the time I was an engineer. Started my engineering in 86. And I'd set up stuff like CRT projector screens in the nightclub that was attached to the arcade. Anyway, I digress. But what I do want to show you, and I went originally to do, was to get the temperature of the transformer here. This is the power transformer, so it supplies all the various voltages. At the moment, the temperature of this is 45. We're going to keep our eyes on that. To be running only 50 volts into it. Let's tilt you up. Whoa! Steady on, that's English for stop a horse. Look, 55 volts. And it's already getting warm. I can touch that because that's hot for what it is. That's hot. Something is not right straight away. It's taking that transformer down. The first thing I'm going to do is go for the guilty suspects, the usual suspects, which is all the power caps. Now, you can wake these caps up. I've read about this. You sort of give them a little tickle and they start coming back to life. Some will be dead short. We need to go in and just see if there's any shorted caps. All I'm going to do, I'm not going to check the capacity of the caps. I'm just going to meet them out. Strictly speaking, we should recap the entire thing, but I'm only looking for shorts. I just want to try and wake this thing up. It's the meter on continuity test now. I'm going to try and find it. Most likely, the usual ones that go are on the high voltage side because it breaks the caps down a lot easier. Higher voltage caps do not like. Let's just see. Flip this board round. I'll show you underneath. Sure enough, two very naughty caps, completely shorted out. Not even just dead short, just meter straight out on the probe. Just so I can show you what I mean. Switch to short circuit on my probe or continuity test. Don't know if I'll be able to actually do it. Usually one-handed. I don't know if we can do that with one hand. Try and rest that there. I'm sure this just metered straight out. I mean, it's, you know, you can take it from me that it's dead, but there you go. Cap gone, cap dead. Completely gone, and the other one. So we need to replace those. I took them out of the circuit when I was soldering at least two. I'd do all three actually. I don't think I've got a third cap. It's not showing short. Let me just solder in two of these new caps. Those are those ones I got from Mouse. Hold on, I'll be right back. Solder up now. At least we've got our first fault of the day. Switch off, flip round, let's see what we get. Motorscope, folks. Motorscope. Go for auto sequence, and we're good for auto sequence start. I got a lovely view of the earth here. It's absolutely fantastic. Roger that. Go for mode 1 throttle. Mode 1 throttle. The LEM has separated. We're kicking up a little bit of dust now. Well, tranquility base here, the eagle has landed. Oh God, thank God for that. You've got a bunch of boys about to turn blue, turn blue, turn blue, turn blue, turn blue, turn blue, turn blue. I remember all those were all the NASA quotes. And they sampled a lot of them in some rave records in the 90s. The Orb did it on some of their ambient stuff. Adventures Beyond the Ultraworld, a great album if you like a bit of ambient. And they used a lot of those Apollo mission samples, and also there was quite a few sort of fast rave tunes that would pinch some of those samples. I always remember those would be on the dance floor. I can't dance, I've told you this, but we somehow found it in ourselves, lots of extra energy, induced artificially, more than likely, which made us dance even worse, but it was more like jogging on the spot really. And when you heard those rocket samples right in the middle of your sort of techno ambient dance floor, we'd always go to the sort of underground gigs where the music was not mainstream, but rather up and coming. And you'd get an extra boost when you heard, if you excuse the pun of course, an extra boost when you heard all the Apollo mission samples being looped across these 120, sometimes even 130 BPM, what we called techno records. I wouldn't say it's the techno that you hear today, but it was acid and techno mixed. DJs like Dave Angel, DJs like Sven Vath, DJs like some of the other pioneers of techno, and anyone from Yorkshire may have been in the club with me at the same time. You never know. How bizarre would that be? Anybody here watching out of our 2,000 viewers that regularly watch? The Orbit Club, Morley, Leeds. We'll say it one more time. The Orbit Club, Morley in Leeds. Were you there in the mid-90s? We are doing good. We are not cooking. We are not cooking. Take an ambient trip with me across these circuit boards and just get that beer down you. Chris Bradley waiting to pick up his Astra. Will we make it, Chris? I don't think so now, do you? Sorry, Chris. Too drunk to respond. Okay. I'm happy with the fact that we're not, that is real relief. We're at the 212. Can we take it up anymore? We'll keep our eye on the temperature of the power transformer. It's a power transformer that matters. You can virtually rebuild every part on this Crypton machine except the tube, possibly the deflection gauge, although you could rewind that deflection coil pretty easy. So I would say tube you'll never get if it breaks, if it doesn't work, if it's lost its gas, if it's cracked, the neck's cracked. Never get a tube, that's a write-off. And more than likely you'll never get a power transformer like that. It's multi-tapped. There's about them in 6 or 7 different tappings off there. You've got high voltage tappings, 30 volt, AC, there's all sorts. I'm guessing from looking at the windings when I flipped it, by the way. I don't know for sure. I don't think you'd ever get that. And I wouldn't like to have that rewound. It'd be a nightmare. So, the heart and the deal, the breaker, the bit that's going to make this Motorscope a nice little benchtop unit, and it is a nice compact benchtop unit, is transformer okay, tube okay. Everything else you can do. You can get switches, you can get capacitors, you can get relays, or highly unlikely they'll have failed. You can get valves, you can get everything on here. You just can't get that transformer and that tube. So we need them to work. I'm happy now that this isn't going to cook. We're up 220 volts. We go to 230 and we stop. Let's do it. Pump me up. Just pump me up, baby. Come on, Arnie. Work that iron. Come on, baby, and speak to me. Bonnie Tyler, sing to me, Bonnie. Sing your magical songs. Are you lost in France? Cologne. Motorcraft, the new cologne. Motorcraft, the new cologne for him, for her. The smell of burned oil and burned valves. Motorcraft, because the lady loves the smell of burned Motorcraft oil. Motorcraft, the new fragrance for him. Motorcraft, keeps you going longer. Motorcraft, the new fragrance, keeps you going longer. Motorcraft, by Motorscope. No, I was meant to say Motorscope. So let's do that again. Motorscope, the new fragrance from Crypton. That's it, we got it, we're on. Motorscope, the new fragrance from Crypton. For him, for her. Keeps you going, keeps Ali Mac going longer in Scotland on the cold nights. Longer. Motorscope, by Crypton, the new fragrance for men. Absolutely lost the plot. It's supposed to be a tech vid. The hell planet are you on? Right, we are doing good. Wayne Baker is in. Little New is watching. Lee Holmes is missing. Where is Lee? Andy the lens there. Lee Holmes missing in action. Shot down in flames, Lee. We'll have to go and recover you. Lost pilot. Wayne and Andy, go and find Lee. Motorscope, new fragrance. We are good. Let's do a temp check. So this can help you if you're going to do your motorscope at home. Okay, we're up. We're to 50. We've got a rise. We have got a rise. And it ain't a pay rise. 50. But, so a proportional heat increase to volts increase, which is understandable, but are we at the cooking point? Too hot to touch is no good. Warm to warmish, okay. I'd say it's straining a bit. Something is taking it, making it work hard. Now we are running open-ended, so I don't hear any HT fizzles or cracks. But we're not into a meltdown. It's good, but it's not brilliant. Good, but not brilliant. I'm just waiting till it hits that point where it's sort of, if that starts to crackle, it's game over. Or, well, the transformer actually might be okay and something's pulling it down, so we could still be okay, but what we don't want to do is cook out the transformer. 230. 228, dropping a touch. Temperature was at 49 and we're getting a rise. Yeah, 52. We're climbing in the wrong direction, folks. I would say that is under load too much. Something's taking it down. What we could do now is disconnect a winding at a time and find out the circuit that's pulling it. See, if it was dead, it would just short on its own. So the thing to do now is to disconnect the loading from this and leave it idle just to see. I'm listening, by the way, that's why I've gone quiet. Okay, I'm going to leave you for a sec because we've been on this take for long enough here. I'm wary of you being bored out of your skulls. But this is a technique that we're doing here to gently coax this unit back into life without doing any damage. I'm aware that the neck connector and HT lead on this one has a HT lead, unlike the other motorscopes which don't have HT lead onto the casing, are disconnected. So I'm going nowhere near those cables, but that transformer I'm watching like a hawk. I think that it's probably okay and that it's getting a drain on it somewhere. Now we've got some voltage checks up at the top, 700, 300, 30, 23, 10, minus 300. We can start monitoring those and see if they give us any clues, if there's anything dragging this down, or it could be the transformer's damaged, but I doubt it. I'm going to listen now for crackles. I'll be right back. PC. Well, I report back with a little bit of better news. I've found a fault, and it's one of the selenium rectifier rods. These are old school rectifier rods, and this one is burned out, and surprisingly enough, it was the one that fed that shorted cap. So that all makes sense. Hang on, let's flip you down again. We're on to kind of camera. All makes perfect sense that at the moment the rectifier rod is removed. It was coming in from the high voltage output of the transformer and feeding that cap. That was the main cap that had blown. So it's took out the cap, overheated the transformer, and took out the selenium rectifier rod, which are a really old idea. We can replace with silicon diodes, so I've just got to work out if I'm putting a silicon diode in, we're going to get an increase in voltage because they're more efficient, so we'd have to put a series resistor in. So we've got to do a little bit of, we need to know what the voltage is supposed to be on this line. So that's a good question. I ain't got a schematic, it's all guesswork now. Yeah, this is gone. It's gone. It's probably conducting both ways. It's up to something, but the transformer's not cooking. Now, I've had it on for 20 minutes now, full throttle, and the set transformer does not get warm, not get hot. I have got this end cap unhooked as well, so I'm going to resolder that on that end cap. In fact, really, we should take that out, that cap. The only reason I haven't took it out is because I haven't got another one, but I can pinch one off one of my repairs that I did, but I don't know if I'll just have to order another cap. I think it's best to just order the bits instead of just messing around, you know. But it looks like it's one or two things. Most likely that's selenium rectifier, but I have got this can disconnected here. I'm going to solder that back on just to prove the point. If the transformer starts heating up, it's that, but that's not showing as short, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's not broke. So that's what we're up to there. Then that would get this power supply running without getting hot. All I'd have to do then is to actually fix any of the boards that are damaged, but the modular, so we can check everything on this board. All these parts down here, there won't be anything wrong with them. They're just linear pots, logarithmic pots, whatever they are. All these caps seem to be good. We've got 30 volts, 23 volts, rock steady. The 700 volt side there seems okay. There's just another set of capacitors here, but they have got power on them. They do seem to have survived. There's some inrush resistors there. The problem would have been down here, and it's caused all sorts of additional problems. It's definitely making the transformer get hot. Luckily, transformer windings can't be short because without it disconnected, it now runs at normal temp, so it was able to push power out. It's just that it was taking it right down. It's time now to do a bit of research. It's time now to get probably a 4007 diode in with a series resistor, and we should be good to go. Okay, we might have to leave you for another Friday because you're going to well into 2 hours, I would have thought. We haven't got a high voltage rectifier diode. I tried a few in stores, but they can't take the voltage. 700 volts blows that one. We're going to have to go at least 1.5 kilovolts to get the rectifier diodes to work. I've put some series resistors in, but it's not going to do it. We're out of time. Time's caught up with us. Never underestimate time. It's caught up with us. We're in a mess. We need to put everything away again, as we always do. Look at all the mess you made. So, on that note, leave me on Saturday to tidy up. I'll leave you on Friday to drink up. And for this tech video, I've been Pete C at Cortina City, bringing you the technical videos and road trips, and one day some more Cortina Mk3 possible rescue and restoration. For now, you're going to have to bear with me. Alright, so that's the way it was. So I'm going to leave you. We're going to tune in. We're going to drop out. And all I can say is, folks, that's all I can say is, all Pete can say tonight to wish you a good night. Sup up. Don't forget that pint of water, folks. Ali Mac, a pint of wee bottle of scotch. A wee bottle of scotch for Ali Mac and everybody else. And I say, get to the chopper. We say, get to the chopper, Mac. See you later. I'm going. Bye. Good night and thanks for the views and those super chatters. We might even get this going next week. Who knows? Let's order some silicon rectifier diodes and we'll go downtown and check it out. For now, it's good night. Hasta la vista, baby.